Hey everybody, Scott Wikle. You're listening to My Kind of Country right here on Fish Creek Radio. I'm very pleased to have this gentleman with me on tonight's show. We have a mutual friend, Mr. Brian Nolf, and I've known virtually my whole life, and he's a wonderful entertainer. And he is working with this gentleman at the Country Tonight Theater down in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. And folks, if you get a chance to go see this country music show, I highly recommend it. They've got some wonderfully talented people in this group performing down there, including this gentleman that we have who plays guitar. And he's played for many, many legends, including a long tenure with Ernest Tubb's Texas Troubadours. And I'm happy to have him on the show tonight. Would you please say hi to Jack Mollette? Jack, how are you?
I'm doing well, Scott. How you doing today, brother?
Hey, I'm fantastic. Thanks so much for taking time to talk with me today. It's an honor.
Oh, it's my honor. I appreciate you being interested in asking me to.
Well, my listeners are very interested in the country music history, and I certainly have learned a lot by doing these interviews. So it's great to be able to get some of this information from the people that were there.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Well, Jack, give me a little bit of your history. How did you get involved in music, and what was where did you grow up? And give me a little history of your background.
Well, I think that my dad was always wanted to be a guitar player, and he never had the opportunity. So when I was 11, he bought me an OK guitar, lime green, and the strings felt like they were about 2 or 3 inches off the neck. I got interested in it, and he got me a nice Gibson, and I've been playing since I was 11. I think that was like 1956, and which makes me ancient. But anyway, I was playing thumb style. I started out playing like Chet. I guess everybody at one point in time from that era started doing it that way, with the thumb pick and finger style and stuff. And then I got interested in a lot of the country stuff, and one day I heard my uncle, I think it was, his name was Charles, he had a record of Ernest Tubb's Midnight Jamboree, and I heard Buddy Emmons and Leon Rhodes. I think they did Rose City Chimes, and Leon took a solo, and I thought, oh man, I got to have that. So from that day on, I started trying to learn some single string, and I did pretty well. I learned most of Leon's stuff, and he still today is a very good friend of mine, which, by the way, he has got Alzheimer's. It's not real bad yet, but he still has Alzheimer's.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a wonderful man, him and Judy, his wife. Anyway, I heard Leon, and then a few years later, I heard this guy named Hank Sugarfoot Garland. I thought, oh man, these guys are killing it. And so I did my best. I studied, and I just learned everything I could learn. And back then, the only thing that we had was record players.
Oh, sure.
And what I did to learn all these licks, I would put a quarter on top of the stylus, and it would slow it down enough I could see what they were playing. And so I learned a lot of that stuff. And then one day in 1965, I think it was, the Troubadours came to Detroit, and I got invited to a all-night jam session. So I went, and Ernest and Steve Chapman, who was the guitar player at that point, Leon had already left the band, and Steve was playing. And him and Ernest had gone to a movie. So it was all the Troubadours, Jack Drake, Jack Green, Cal Smith, Buddy Charlton, all those boys except for Ernest and Steve. So we started jamming, and by that time, I knew all of their instrumentals, and I knew most of Leon's solos. So I started jamming with them, and Buddy said, man, if there's ever an opening, would you consider taking the job? And I said, sure, I'd love to.
Yeah.
So we went on, and we had our jam session. They went back on the road. I went back home, and then a couple of years later, I had my own band in Detroit, and we got a chance to go do the Wheeling WWBA Jamboree, and Paul Franklin was playing steel with us. So Paul went with us, and we did the jamboree, and I met a fella named Jim Murphy, steel guitar player.
Oh, yeah.
He had just, did you know Jim?
Yeah, he played, I saw him when he played with Johnny Paycheck.
Yeah. Well, this was like 1968, and Jim was staff player at WWVA. Well, we did the show, and I got to jam with him a little bit, and he hired me on the spot to play guitar for Loretta Lynn.
Oh, wow.
So 2 weeks later, they came through Detroit, and that's when I got on the bus. And I spent a year with them, and I thought, man, this, I'm not making enough money to support my family, so I left and moved back to Detroit. Well, about 6 months later, Ernest Tubb called me, and he said, hey, we've got a pretty good recommendation from the Troubadours. Would you like to, do you need a job? Would you like to go to work for me? And I said, yeah, I'd love to. It'd be an honor. So I moved back down to Nashville and started working for E.T. And at the time, unless you're working for somebody and around them, you don't know what a legend that they really are. I mean, looking back, I was so blessed. I mean, Ernest Tubb was one of the greatest legends there ever was in country music. Him and George Jones and folks like that. So I spent 3 years with E.T., and I think when I started with him, he had over 300 songs, and about 280 of them were my kickoffs. So I had a lot of work to do. But I knew all the Troubadours, and we had a fine band. They were good people. The Troubadours then consisted of Buddy Charlton on steel, Junior Pineda on bass guitar and vocals. We had a fiddle player, Leon Bollinger. He fronted for a while. And then Ernest, and then when we started, I think Wayne Jernigan was playing drums. And Wayne left shortly after to I think it was Columbia, South Carolina, and started his own recording studio, Reflections. And then Bill Fender came in, who was just an awesome musician, great drummer. So I spent 3 years with Ernest, and it was an experience, I'll tell you.
Well, I heard a lot of stories about the poker games. Did you guys used to get in on the poker games?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I was relief driver with Hoot Borden, and we'd leave town, and if we were in a poker game and it was my turn to drive, E.T. would say, Hoot, keep on driving. I've seen the time when we started playing poker from the time we left Nashville. We'd go do the job, get back on the bus, play poker, do the other, however many jobs were in line for that tour. And we'd get back on, we'd start playing poker, and we'd still be playing poker when we got back home.
Lynn Owsley told me one time, I was talking to him down at the Music City Bar and Grill. We were talking about the green Hornet Bus, which was parked in the old Ernest Tubb record shop there. And he says, one time I owned that bus for a while. He won it in a poker game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I won about $2,200 off of E.T. in one of them.
Man.
He loved playing dice, shooting dice. He would tear the table and not bunks, but the table and the seats out to make room to get down on your knees and throw the dice.
Oh, man.
He was something else.
I heard he had a real passion for Hormel chili, too.
Well, it was Wolf Brand, actually.
Oh, Wolf Brand, okay.
Yeah. Every time we'd go to Texas, he would load up on Wolf Brand chili. We'd get cases under the bus. He was a good man.
I hope he had good ventilation on that old thing.
Well, yeah, it wasn't real good sometimes, but anyway.
I've been told by so many different artists that Ernest Tubb, he helped so many people come up in the music business. Folks like Jack Green and Cal Smith and Buddy Emmons, of course, and
yeah,
he had some of the best
great
musicians.
Players. Oh man. Undoubtedly.
You talked about Buddy Charlton. I always thought he was somewhat underrated. Buddy Emmons kind of stole a lot of the spotlight, but I'll tell you what, I think Buddy Charlton, pound for pound, was one of the best in the business.
Buddy Charlton played very well, very well. I think the only problem with Buddy Charlton was he got compared to Buddy Emmons. So many, it's like they compare which ones they thought was the best, and it's kind of hard to go through.
Oh yeah.
But both of them, either one, I picked with both of them. They were both incredible players.
Now, you were talking about learning to play guitar on this guitar that it was just a cheap guitar and everything. And I'm always amazed when I hear people say that they started out on this Sears and Roebuck guitar or whatever it is, and then they got a passion to play. And it's really interesting to me that if you're learning how to play guitar on this, it's got to be harder than heck to try to play the thing. How does that transpire into really wanting to get into guitar?
Well, it was kind of tough. Actually, I think the first one that I actually played, my uncle had, it was like a $12 Stella down in Kentucky. Then Dad got me and when he saw I was a little bit interested, he got me that K. And it's tough, but I guess back then I had the desire and the drive. And that's what you have to have. You have to focus and you have to put everything you have into it if you want to learn how to play. And obviously we didn't have the media and the utensils that they've got now for learning how to play. If we'd have had that, oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a whole different ball game. Now, back then it was catch as catch can, and now they've got, you get on your computer, you can learn to do just about anything there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a program that I've got. It's called Transcribe, and I can take a blazing fast solo, put it on Transcribe, and slow it down to 25%, and I can get every note that the man's playing. I mean, it's incredible. If we'd have had that, man.
That's better than putting a quarter on the needle, right?
I'm telling you. I tell you, it saves a lot on your vinyl, too.
That's right. Well, you also were on some of Ernest's recordings, too. I know you played on the One Sweet Hello album.
Yes, sir, I did. I think Say Something Nice to Sarah.
Yep.
And gonna see the other one. I can't remember the name of it.
I just bought that album here. Somewhere. I just picked up that album a couple of weeks ago. I used to have it, and one of my moves, I lost track of it, and I found another copy of it. So I've got that album again. That was some great music he was putting out at that time.
It was good stuff. He was a wonderful man. I think that the only reason probably that I didn't stay with him, the first year we were on tour that I worked for him, we were on the road 300 days.
My gosh.
In the second year, 290, and the third year, 286. And I finally told him, said, E.T., I can't do this anymore.
I can understand.
No family life at all.
That's a grueling schedule, and he was an older man at that time, and it was amazing to me that he kept up that kind of a schedule. Even when he started having, the emphysema problems, he was still out there touring. Amazing.
He was a wonder. Yes, he was amazing. He was.
Like you said, you got to have a passion for it.
Oh yeah, he did, and at the time you don't realize the legend that you're working for. I mean, it's just. I look back now and I think, man, how blessed could a guy get than to have that job?
Absolutely.
One of the greatest.
Absolutely. He certainly is, and he's still a regular on my show, and I've always loved his music, and I I particularly like the live recordings. I've always really liked live recordings, and the live recordings in his situation to me were better than the studio stuff because the musicians, the quality and there was a spontaneity that happened there.
Right.
And
I think I've got somewhere, if I can find it. We did a club up in Alaska, up in Fairbanks, I think it was. The Red Dog Saloon, believe it or not. And I think I've got a live cut of that when somebody just recorded it with an old tape recorder. If I can find it, I'll send it to you.
Oh, man, I would love to have a copy of that. Yeah.
I'll go through my stuff. I think I got it.
I can put it on a CD. Yeah, I can put that on CD, and that'd be great.
Well, it is CD. They sent it to me.
Oh, they did? Oh, wow. Yeah, I would love
so
to
I
have
could
it.
just copy it and send it to you.
Boy, I'd appreciate that. That would be fantastic. I always love the live stuff. Absolutely. I read something, I think it was on your Facebook page, about jamming with Merle when you were with E.T.
Yeah.
And he was learning how to play the fiddle at that time.
Yeah, when I was still with Ernest and we were doing dates with Merle, Buddy and I usually always before a show or something we'd get out there and do some jamming. And Merle was learning to play fiddle, and he came back there and he just jammed with us and just had a good time. And he turned into a very good player.
Oh yeah, he absolutely did. He was playing the last time I saw him last September, and he picked up his fiddle and played it, and he still had it.
Yeah, good man.
He certainly was. That was a tough one for me to lose him. I'll tell you what, we've lost so many of our legends, especially in the last couple of years. But losing Merle, that hit me pretty hard.
Yeah, it's people like that you look up to and have so much respect for. You think, well, they're going to be around forever. Well, they're not.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. We all got to go through it. But Merle he was top quality, man.
Absolutely. Well, Jack, you've produced some records too. I know you did some of the Deep South Band, and then of course you had your own band, the Country Gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
And what were you doing after you left Ernest Tubb? Were you playing locally downstate there in Michigan?
I went back to Detroit for about 5-6 months, I think, and Herbie Mandrell called me, Barbara's dad,
mm-hmm.
and he said, we're looking for a guitar player. He said, we're only working about 180 days a year. He said, are you interested? And I said, well, let me talk to my wife. And so I did, and we took that. And so I went to work for her, and I stayed with her about 3 years, and she's just a wonderful lady. And I did one album with her, Midnight Angel.
Oh, wow.
And I just, there again, after 3 years, I looked at the bus one day and I said, I can't do this anymore. So I gave my notice, and then Dave Powelson took my place. Dave was fine. I think he's still with Brenda Lee, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Good player.
Barbara was fantastic. I had a conversation with Norm Hamlet, who played steel for Merle for 40-some years, and he taught Barbara how to play steel guitar, and he told me the whole story about that. It was pretty interesting.
Yes, he did. He taught her for a while. She really loved Norm. We did have you ever heard her play? Have you seen her play?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. She's phenomenal.
We did the Johnny Cash Christmas special. I think it was 1975, I believe. And I taught her the Troubadour's version of Steel Guitar Rag, or kind of a close version of that. And we did that on the Johnny Cash special. And she plays so good. Great steel player.
Oh, absolutely. That whole family's talented. All those girls.
Yeah.
It's,
absolutely.
I mean, it's just amazing. It's got to be, in the genetics. Just a wonderful. I remember watching the Mandrell sisters TV show that was on, and I mean,
right.
It was just, it was unreal, the talent that came across that stage.
Absolutely. Very talented family.
You were talking earlier about learning all the intro licks for the Ernest Tubb songs, and to people that like me that listen to so much of Ernest's music, a lot of the songs, he had that definite sound, and a lot of the songs really kind of sounded the same, but yet they didn't. And you were talking about learning all those intros. There's a lot of those songs, when I hear the intro, I can tell you which song it is before it even comes on.
Oh, yeah. And there's a couple that are so close, two that I can think of off the bat. It's Soldier's Last Letter and Our Baby's Book.
Yeah.
The intros are very, very close. And so you have to really be on your toes, because after about the first two songs, you never knew what he was going to call.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, absolutely. He might call one that he hadn't done since you'd been there.
Wow.
and you really needed to know how to play it.
Well, I know he was real good about taking requests from people, too.
He sure was. And they'd request these old things that I worked on, and I was pretty well ready. And you just, like I say, after about the first 2 or 3 songs, you just never knew what he was going to pull.
Well, it had to keep it. It had to keep it fresh anyway, right?
Absolutely, keep you on your toes.
Well, I want to talk about this wonderful show down in at Pigeon Forge there at the Country Tonight Theater. And folks, you can go to countrytonightpf.com. We'll put that information on our Facebook page. Tell me about this wonderful, wonderful country music show. It's being called the best show in the Smokies.
Well, the past 5 years, I think, we've got Show of the Year 4 times from Pigeon Forge and the surrounding area. We've got some really, really good talent. Of course, Brian is our bass player and vocalist. We have a fellow named Dustin Jenkins on keyboards and vocalist, who is just an incredible musician and vocalist. Mike Caldwell, one of the hottest harp players that I ever heard. Very good friends with Charlie McCoy. I don't tell Charlie this, but I think he probably plays better.
Oh, boy.
Anyway,
I'm glad we did this interview after. I just interviewed Charlie McCoy just a couple weeks ago, so I'm glad we did this interview after that.
Absolutely. Well, I love Charlie's playing and always have. He's just an awesome player, an awesome man. But anyway, Mike Caldwell, we have Brad Martin on drums. He's a UT graduate. He's very, very good. And then you knew Red Stewart and Pee Wee King, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Tennessee Waltz.
Yep, exactly. Well, we have Red's nephew, Larry Stewart, on steel guitar and banjo and acoustic guitar.
Nice.
So we've got a nice crew.
Well, tell me a little bit about the show. What kind of songs do you guys do? What's a typical show like?
Well, we start out with an old Larry Gatman thing, Boogie and Beethoven for our opener, which is a high energy thing, and then we go into Travis Tritt song. And after that, Brian does Little Miss Honky Tonk. Stuff like that through about the first 5, 6, 7 songs. And then we have a comedian who is also the company manager, Chan Mullinex, better known as Bubba the Redneck Ranger. He comes, he's very good and clean. And he comes out, by the way, the whole show is very clean. It's family oriented. So, anyway, Chan comes out and does his little thing. Then we go into a classic section. We do stuff like You Ain't Woman Enough to Take My Man. Let's see. I Can't Stop Loving You. Ring of Fire. I do Working Man Blues. Brian does Gentle on My Mind. Things like that. Through that, and then later on in the show, a little bit later on, we do a gospel section. We do a quartet thing, and then a trio song. We start out the next half of the show with Footloose and do some stuff like that. Willow does some. We have a wonderful little banjo player, Willow Osborne. She's 15 years old.
Wow.
And just incredible. She does Dixie Breakdown, a few banjo tunes here and there, and sings. She sings. We do a Garth Brooks section, then we do a Dolly Parton section, and she does Coat of May Colors, and we do some other things on more modern things. We do a couple Carrie Underwood songs, and then we do for the closer. We do a thing for the all the military and everything.
Oh, nice.
Patriotic thing.
Nice.
So it's pretty neat.
There's something.
It's a good show.
Sounds like there's something for everybody. There's new stuff, old stuff.
That's what we try to do. And Kevin Wilson is a producer. He does an awesome job. He's a good man. He also is the MC, and he's been producing the show for like 4 years now, I believe. And he tries to make it very interesting for the audience. Tries to make it quick, where you can't get bored. I mean, there's no dead time between songs. It's just bam, bam, bam.
Oh,
And then
absolutely.
again, you have to be on your toes, but it's really neat. It's a good show. It's a good family show.
I think it's nice that there's some some people like yourself that have tenure in the business, and then you've got some young people. There's a lot of new younger people that are doing traditional country music, and I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Mo Pitney.
Absolutely. I got a hold of him when he first hit, and I talked to several artists. It was Helen Cornelius and I think Johnny Lee. A couple other ones mentioned Mo Pitney, and I thought, man, I better get a hold of this guy. And so I was able to have him on the show, and I said, I really wanted to do this before you hit it big and you forget about us little guys,
He's a good one, I'll tell you. I haven't had the chance to meet him yet, but I really would like to. I really like what he does.
I do too. I had a nice conversation with him. Nice guy, and he's a big Merle Haggard fan. In fact, he wrote a song about just meeting Merle Haggard, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty cool.
He got to open some shows for Merle shortly last year, just before Merle left the road, and I know that was a good thing for him. Well, on your show, Jack, how many shows a week do you do, and what is your season run down there?
Well, we usually run from about the way it's been, and we open usually around March 27th, 24th, 27th, somewhere around in there, and then we run to the end of December through the 31st. We have a New Year's Eve show that starts at 10 p.m. During that season, our busiest season actually is from about September on. Mm-hmm. Normally, we'll do somewhere around 320 shows. A lot of times 2 shows a day, especially in September, starting in September and October. I think we're doing Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday doubles.
Wow.
And then most of the other time single shows. So we're working about between 9 and 10 shows a week.
Wow.
In the busy season. In the slower season, March through maybe May, we're probably doing 7, 8 shows a week, at least one a day, and usually Tuesday is usually the day that we always have 2 shows.
Wow.
So,
well, I hope you live close by.
Well, actually, I live kind of away from it a little bit, but I like it. I live in Jefferson City, and it's about 24 and a half miles.
Oh, that's not too bad.
No, and so I'm far enough away from the crazy that and I know the back ways in when the traffic gets crazy.
Yeah. Well, being from Michigan, you probably are well versed in that. I know we are too up here.
Oh man, you better believe it, man.
Well, it's a beautiful theater there. And I know they do some other concerts. I think you've got Bill Anderson coming in, and they do a lot of great concerts there in addition to your show. So, folks, I encourage you to check it out. And again, it's the countrytonightpf.com, and you can order your tickets there. And make sure you go see Jack Mollette and my friend Brian Nolf. And it sounds like a fabulous show, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Jack, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, and I want to wish you a happy birthday. I know you got a birthday coming up here shortly, and
oh, Lord, I never thought I'd live this old. If I had, the old adage, I'd have taken better care of myself. But
well, you obviously are doing what you enjoy, and they obviously enjoy you. You've been there for quite a few years now, and that says a lot right there. And
very blessed.
It sounds like a top-notch show, and I encourage folks to check it out and go meet these wonderful people and tell them you heard it on My Kind of Country. Jack, thank you so much for taking time to talk with me today. It's been a pleasure. I'll have you hang on a second. I'm going to get an address so I can send you a copy of this, but I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate you being interested in letting me do this. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. We're going to go back and play a few cuts from Mr. Ernest Tubb. This was back when Jack was playing in the group. We're going to play a couple off of the One Sweet Hello album, and maybe we'll do Say Something Nice to Sarah, which happens to be my wife's name, so that's always a good song to put in.
There you go. Awesome.
All right. Jack Mollette, thank you, as My Kind of Country continues here on Fish Creek Radio.
Thank you, brother.
My hand holds a bottle of wine in Oklahoma, in a bar alongside the railroad tracks. I'm waiting for a train to Waxahachie. And when old going gets a going, old going ain't coming back. Well, you either gotta laugh it up or cry it down. When love goes wrong, there ain't no middle ground. My baby started moving on another track. And when old going gets a going, old going ain't coming back. Ah, lucky Mollette. Of course I laugh the most when I'm drinking, 'cause when I'm sober, my future looks mighty black. And these old shoes are begging to scratch some gravel. And when old going gets a going, old going ain't coming back. Well, you either gotta laugh it up or cry it down. When love goes wrong, there ain't no middle ground. My baby started moving on another track. And when old going gets a going, old going ain't coming back. And when old going gets a going, old going ain't coming back. One sweet hello and one sad goodbye. Two empty arms and these lonely nights to cry. Together it was heaven, but how quickly time did fly. With one sweet hello and one sad goodbye. All lucky. And buddy, these precious memories linger on, haunting my mind since you're gone. These little things between us that really have no ties are all we had together, and all we realized was one sweet hello and one sad goodbye. Two empty arms and these lonely nights to cry. Together it was heaven, but how quickly time did fly. With one sweet hello and one sad goodbye. Honey, I've known all the time you don't love me so much, but I would go right out of my mind if I lost your touch. You say if I don't want you around, to just let you know, but it took a while to get up the nerve to tell you to go. I'm giving you 99 years to pack up your clothes. You've got just 99 years to hit the road. If you don't stop running round and start treating me nice, I'm giving you 99 years to get up and get out of my life. Oh, Jack Mollette, pick it, son. Well, I don't know just what I'd do if you ever left. Think I might think about taking a gun and shooting myself. I guess you might think I've been a fool depending on you. I'm giving you 99 years to tell me we're through. I'm giving you 99 years to pack up your clothes. You've got just 99 years to hit the road. If you don't stop running round and start treating me nice, I'm giving you 99 years to get up and get out of my life. I'm giving you 99 years to get up and get out of my life. Well, I couldn't sleep last night and started walking. I bet I walked 100 miles or more. I wore a hole in my new Sunday slippers, and I ain't even been outside my door. Well, I've been walking nearly all night long, trying to figure out just where it is you've gone, and exactly what it is that keeps you out. I've been walking nearly all night long, and I ain't even left my house. Oh, Jack. And Buddy. I wore a path across my brand new carpet and smoked at least 2 packs of cigarettes. You didn't even tell me you were leaving. You just left it up to me to guess. Well, I've been walking nearly all night long, trying to figure out just where it is you've gone, and exactly what it is that keeps you out. I've been walking nearly all night long, and I ain't even left my house. Well, I've been walking nearly all night long, and I ain't even left my house.
Sinful life is like a whirlpool, drags you down, you just can't win. When you think you're doing better, you get pulled back down again. Heard about the one called Jesus, how he'd make the crooked straight. So I prayed for him to save me. He said, son, why did you wait? He showed me things of meaning, gave me guidance from above. Of all the things he taught me, best of all, he showed me love. My life's no longer lonely, he is now my dearest friend. He waits for me in heaven, where my life will never end. This world now holds no power over me. The power of my Lord has set me free. I've seen the light, my eyes are open wide. Things have changed with Jesus by my side. My trust in Christ will do me, he waits on the other side. I'll be glad to see my Savior was for me, he came and died. As I go through life's short journey, I tell with every step I trod how the blood of Christ can change you to a precious child of God. This world now holds no power over me. The power of my Lord has set me free. I've seen the light, my eyes are open wide. Things have changed with Jesus by my side. This world now holds no power over me. The power of my Lord has set me free. I've seen the light, my eyes are open wide. Things have changed with Jesus by my side.